Masters and we have masters. We have IGPs and we have IGPs. We've been having IGPs. This IGP is the 22nd indigenous Inspector General of Police. Previous IGPs have been making some, giving out directives and pronouncements on issues like this. But when it comes to the present IGP, human rights are so critical to him, protecting human rights, and he doesn't want any Nigerian to be oppressed or to be subjected to unnecessary harassment by any of our operatives. Not only in the police, he preaches such a thing around, and he has given directive. The IGP doesn't advise his personnel, he directs his personnel. And this IGP has issued this directive. Before this directive, if you follow trends of development in the police in Nigeria, he has made similar pronouncements or directives concerning protection of people's rights. It's the same IGP that said, before now, that said that a suspect should not be detained beyond necessary. If the law says you have to detain maximum 48 hours in the cell, IG will not allow that. He has given out instructions that even me, some senior officers, IG has given them, has empowered them. They can go to any cell and release any suspect. If you are not serious to prosecute your suspect, why using my cell, my facility to punish or to keep a Nigerian? It's unheard of. So aside from that, the IGP is the same IGP who issued directive on so many policies, many projects in the police to protect people's rights. So far, all our foreign partners that have been working with us, they can testify to the fact that we channel our energy towards training our officers on how to protect people's fundamental human rights. So let me quickly correct that. Even the IGP that sent out the signal before the pronouncement from the Attorney General. It's not because IGC is not reactive to the statement made by the AG. Internally, a signal has been sent out. And you can, if you notice, even me, because before now I used to parade suspects once in a week.
We have
Thursday, Wednesday.
Right.
I've stopped it for long. If you notice that the IGP has told me, PRO, stop it. Then to see how we can actually cascade that directive to all formations and command was a thing that the IGP had to discuss with management team, and he gave directive to, we had a CP's conference where he made it known to them. So it's not because the AG has instructed the police to stop. The AG has been meeting with the IG, and the IGP has made it known that this is what I've been doing to make sure I protect people's rights. And apart from just mere saying it the way they used to say, this is how we do it different to the way it should be done. So the way it should be done is that let's have suspects again, before I leave, the same IG has given instruction that investigate suspect, get credible evidence before even arrest. We are going to that era that we want any suspect arrested is due for just simple investigation and prosecution, because you must have done a lot before you be picked. That's what the police will want in Nigeria, and that is the vision of the Inspector General of Police. Don't forget that his vision statement is to place a police force that is professionally competent, rule of law compliant, service-driven, and people-friendly. If you want to have a people-friendly police, you must do things that an average Nigerian will support, an average Nigerian will appreciate. So it's a welcome development. We have reviewed this, we have analyzed this, and sincerely, it's not going to have any negative effect on the criminal justice administration in Nigeria. Rather, people will see why the police should be embraced, the police should be supported to have, I can't say crime-free society, but at least crime to be reduced to be arrested minimum in Nigeria. It's a welcome development.
Okay, so Jeffo, you say this that practice was seen as a public trial before a trial, where a man was, and sometimes suspects were interrogated on television. Questioned. Some of them, making confessional statements. And that was a huge challenge for a long time. And when it comes to matters of law, that's not acceptable.
Yeah. First of all, I must commend the IG for taking that initiative, because this right to fair trial, fair hearing, If somebody is paraded, for instance, and is later found out not to have committed that offense, these are possibilities. He will have been brought to ridicule before the law, and the person can sue to enforce his right that has been infringed upon. Now, like you said in your intro, you asked that question, and many IGs have come, issued directives, like withdrawing of policemen to VIPs. Each IG that comes gives that directive, but at times it's not obeyed. The problem is not, the IG might mean well, but the problem is the enforcers. ACP Olumuyiwa is a friend. I've known him since I was a director in Ogun State. And each morning I see one of his adverts or jingle that if police ask you to give a bribe, asking for a receipt, who will ask the police for a receipt? You know, these are well-intentioned. But when you come to implementation, it becomes a problem. But let it be known that the management has taken this decision, and by the time one or two persons are punished for such an offense, I think it will serve as deterrent to others. So I must commend the police for taking the police needs to build its image, earn that confidence from the people. We have a lot of security, we are discussing security challenges. And if you don't have people-friendly police, they will not be ready to volunteer information to assist the police.
Let me ask you this. When that practice was the vogue, did it have any good sides to it? Was there any positive thing about that?
Well, it has, but that does not make it right. It has positive because there are some people who deliberately commit crimes and they confess openly. But due to law and technicalities, you go to court, you lose the case because of technicalities from the lawyers. And if such a person had been paraded, you have infringed on his right. But to me, honestly, it served as a deterrent, but that doesn't make it right.
Closely tied to this parade of suspects, we often see when it was a practice before, this pronouncement now that it had to be stopped. We saw not only the suspects being paraded, sometimes we saw arms and ammunitions being displayed, claims that those were the weapons that the suspects
recovered, yes.
Right. Does this cover that as well?
Yeah. You can parade. Now you notice that we don't even show faces, no public parade or suspect again. But you can actually mention facts of those cases and exhibits recovered. We call them exhibits recovered. And the message is not just mere parading them. We want people to learn from, Nigerians to know the antics of these men of the underworld. Aside from that, we have seen those who, I'm sure Francis has been filing reports into this studio to show where people make arms, they manufacture arms. It's not just to arrest them, it's to dismantle the syndicate of these elements who cause pain, sorrows, and tears in Nigeria, on our land. So it's to me, experts will tell you that it has not actually shown deterrence in any part, that you see somebody arrested for a particular offense today, parade him, charge him to court, another person will still do. So in a complex society like ours, we have so many multifaceted approaches to tackle this problem. So whether we parade or we don't, the message, we still have other technicalities, other ways, mechanisms of reaching out to Nigerians to shun crimes. Majorly now, the IGP is using more than 80% non-kinetic ways of talking to Nigeria and curbing crimes in all areas in Nigeria. Many of them are not known, many of them are not in the news, But at least the effects, the positive effect, the impact of our efforts are seen in the news. So the technicalities might not be in the public for security reasons, but the effects are there. And I can say that compared to what we had in 2024, the crime rate has gone down. And the mandate this year again is to make sure that we reduce crime rate at least by 50% in the first quarter. So if the IGP has given us this directive that every command and formation should drop its action plan, and the action plan should be geared towards reducing crimes tremendously in the first quarter, second quarter, third, or fourth. So we are very, very optimistic that I wouldn't know. I think the star is called, maybe the IGP is a mathematician, and he has his PhD in peace and security studies. There's no how this will not tell on the administration of the Nigerian police force. So, and I always want to give it to him because as a student of peace and conflict studies, I learned so many things from some of his policies, some of his ideas. And he's not the one that will just sit and give directive, he consults as well, even as the IGP. So we have deliberated on this. We have seen that we have more good things to come our way in the policing system than what we used to have in the past. And so far, so good. I can say the directive given has paid off. And to compliance, there's no how my PROs across the country, we post them, and there's no how a PRO will tell me, okay, I want to parade a suspect. You can't do that. And that's a major message to the subsectional heads. Once IGP has issued out a directive, I'm sure, and I've just seen it, we need that all tactical commanders, head of department must comply. It's not negotiable. It's what we must do. So whether they're going to comply or not, have you seen anybody parading suspects? No, it will not happen. Because I am in charge of my office, and IG has empowered me to make sure such should not happen. Nobody will violate the directive of the IGP in my office. It's not possible. And I'm sure many senior officers too have done that. Commissioners of police have keyed into that. AIGs in zones, 17 zones we have in Nigeria. They have keyed into that. So, and that thing goes to other directives of the IGP that once the IGP has spoken, he has spoken. It's not negotiable. Now, whether I want to try and do this, no, you don't do that.
Let me ask you this. You speak for the police. How well is police public relations these days? Any significant improvement?
Yes, the PR has been improved upon in many areas. Don't forget, from the institute itself has undergone series of changes. I'm talking of the Nigerian history of populations. And some of us, before NIPR had been not so active. I don't want to say it had been dormant, but not so active. But the leadership now, the president, the council, all of them have taken the bull by the horn to make it a professional body itself by making sure we enforce the NIPR Act. You don't say, I want to be a spokesman. I want to be a PR practitioner, and you not be a bona fide member of the NIPR. It's not proper. I am a member of the committee that the new leadership for NIPR has established. The former spokesman, defense spokesman, General Olumuyiwa is the chairman of the enforcement committee. And we have arrested many people for impersonation. That I want to say, there's a difference between I say to somebody and you say I'm a PR person. A PR person he does so many things, not just to manage your image, but it helps you in conflict management because PR populations encompasses so many things. It goes beyond coming to television and blowing grammars. So it's a very tedious job, and we are specialized in that area. And the same thing has been replicated in the Nigerian Police Force, that we have complied. In fact, we got the award 2024 for the most compliant agency of the government in Nigeria by NIPR. That we don't see any PRO in Nigeria that is not a member of NIPR. It is not. It's a taboo. You don't do it. So we have complied and we are working. And there's no way you want to be a trained PR person and it will not reflect on your day-to-day activities as a PR person. So across the board in the police, PR has improved. Not to even talk of this area of digital media and citizen journalism that we do. If you are not a trained PR person, we are going to fail, because the complexity alone of managing the media this time around, managing your image, is another challenge. So it is with the system we have in the police and the way we'll be cooperating with the institute itself has assisted us a lot in making sure that the PR unit of the police has improved tremendously. To the extent that the IGP personally, we always attend the annual conference of PROs. We did it in Nasaba. We did it in Ibadan. We have done it, and IGP personally has been attending to tell our PROs that, no, this is how the way we do it. So we have improved, and we are still going to do more.
All right.